welcome back for another book review. Today we are talking about this one. So this is Pagan Portals, The Temple Priestesses of Antiquity by, and I'm not sure how to say this name, Lady Haight-Ashton. That first name. I know I'm butchering it, but this one. So once again, it's a Pagan Portals book. They are not very big books. They're just these little pamphlets. And this one tries to go over the history of priestesses, mostly focusing on like Egypt and Greece and Rome. Mostly there. Little shout outs here and there, but really that's kind of the central hub of sorts. This is weird, but I'm excited to announce, because I was actually getting a little nervous as we were getting close to the end of the year. I finally have a 1-star book for the year. I know, I haven't had any this year. This was a 1-star. It sucked so bad. So I was irked reading through it, but then I was like, oh my god, I finally have a 1-star, because I was worried that video's coming up to record and I'm like, what am I going to talk about? Like, there's not going to be anything to say. And honestly, I was torn. Is it a 1? Does it really truly belong with the worst? Is it as bad as the book that tells you to get thread from a corpse? It is my most popular video still, by the way, but that book was so bad. And it's like, is it that bad? Is it as bad as Basic Witches, where we're over here like, your nail shape to scare away men? And you're like, oh my god, is it that bad? Or is it like the 2 stars where you're like, it's not good, but like, it's not like horrific, burn it. But I decided on a 1-star because I can't trust a single word written in this entire book. And it's like, you know, if you can't trust the author for a nonfiction book at all, why would you bother reading it in the slightest? And that's where I'm at. I don't trust the author at all. Why? Most of the sources are Wikipedia. And also herself. So that was fun. Because like, there was other reviews as well that pointed this out, and I was like, no frickin' way. Because it had a pretty low star rating on Goodreads. And then I looked and I was like, oh no. And so I flipped to the book, and sure enough, every single chapter, it's Wikipedia. And it's like, one of the chapters was like, I've used them as sources, but also I will dig deeper when I can. And like, yeah, it's not great. Like, really? I don't think I would trust 99% of her sources. And like, some of them are like so brief that you're like, okay, I get it. But like, also, like, you're quoting like the dictionary. You know, like, it's just, it's not good for sources. But really, the big one, and all of us millennials grew up knowing this, you don't use Wikipedia. Like, you might use it as like a starting point, but you don't list it. Because it can change. Anyone can update those pages. It don't mean diddly squat. Like, it's not an actual source. And for this one trying to be a historical book, like, it's not even like personal gnosis, modern context, none of that. No, it's trying to be a historical analysis book. Rough. Also, it has like the super duper Wiccan look at the past. If you remember, there was a historian in like I think the thing was published like, I want to say like mid 1900s. I know, freaking old here, but I think it was around that point. But it's been so heavily like discredited everywhere, but the pagans have clung to it desperately. And she quotes it, that it was a matriarchal society back in the day, and it's been proven that wasn't the case, and that there's like the great goddess from back in the day of Europe also wasn't the case. And this book constantly would mention that it's like the priestesses were really just worshipping the great mother goddess. And you're like, that's not what they did. That's not how ancient paganism was at all. That's a modern context. They did not have the great of anything, really. All of the deities, like, they kind of had like kind of leaders of sorts, but they all kind of had a purpose too. Like, there was no like the great mother goddess. It was like Isis, Hathor. Like, they had names. There was a reason for that. That it wasn't the Wiccan names. And also putting the goddesses into the very Wiccan context where they did not fit initially, such as Caradwyn being a crone. If you look at her myths, she's not really a crone, she's a mother. But, you know, whatever. So it's stuff like that. And then the last thing that really irked me, and is a personal irk of my own, And some people will love it. I personally think it's really stupid. If I'm reading a book, and especially if you're trying to be in the academic sense, you're trying to join that crowd, and you put herstory instead of history, I'm gonna discredit you instantly. It's a word, bro. It is a word. It doesn't need to be changed. I know if you look at the root words, it's his story, but also it's okay. It's okay, I promise you, it's okay. Like, you can just, and then she wouldn't keep it consistent. You'd have historians and then later historians, and it's just, it drove me insane. And it's like, oh my God, how am I supposed to take you seriously? You're quoting Wikipedia, you've got the Wiccan take on everything, and then you're using the very feminist things of changing words because, oh my God, it has a root word for the him pronoun, and it's like, I just don't care. So yeah, needless to say, I finally have one that earned the ranks of the #1 of my 1-star books of the year. I don't know that I'm gonna have any others. I haven't really had that many bad books this year, so I was very surprised to finally find one. But yeah, this one sucked. Just don't buy it. Cause like, seriously, if you can't trust the author, don't read the book. If they're quoting Wikipedia, I can guarantee you can find better sources. Like, go see if you can find something on the History Channel. I'm sure they have something. I mean, I've watched plenty of documentaries. That's what I grew up watching. Was like the History Channel and like Nat Geo and Discovery. Like, you can find better modern view things of like the ancient priestesses of the world. This is not it. This is not it. This is one of those times where it's like, if you're wanting the academic background, this ain't it. And there's an audience for that. And that they will tear this one apart worse than me, I'm sure. I am not. I have zero desire to like go and get a PhD in history. But I can guarantee you the people that do that, they will rip this book apart way better than me. Like, I only know a little bit, but also I know that even when I was in like 5th grade, when you were doing research, Wikipedia did not count as a source. And that was most of this book. So anyways, it sucked. Just don't get this one. It's not like the worst one. It's not telling you to go get thread from a corpse, but you know, it's also just not particularly great either. So anyways, I'd love to know your thoughts on this one in the comments down below. A huge thank you to my patrons. If you would like to support me and get access to exclusive content, I usually will do extra book talks on Tuesdays. On Thursdays, I post my audiobook, and on Saturdays is the day that I talk about whatever I'm doing in my own craft. So typically I will have just, you know, little chit chats, musings of sorts, and also going through STOW. And I just barely talked about turning 15 years as a witch. So if you want to check that out, it is always linked down below. Here on the main channel, do make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I post every single day. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.